Love is an action word, a verb. That's the conversation we're going to have here today on Self Love Monday. How you guys doing? This is Ron Simplified Myers, author, podcaster, and your uplifting life partner. Now, what I was going to actually do is on Self Love Monday, I was going to talk about this love is action. And then on Thursday, Relationship Thursday, I was going to go into the conversation about would he cheat if he loves you? But these conversations blend in so much together, we're going to end up covering both of them today. So let's cover this love is in action, because I was having this conversation and you guys know my perspective on love. But this person was wanting to really prove how love is in action, because the things that were used as a person stealing, cheating, those type of things, those actions would tell you they don't love you. Now, it does allow you from your perspective to define that to mean they don't love you. The only person that actually knows if a person loves you or doesn't love you is the person themselves. Now, you get to step back, and based on their actions, you can interpret that to say they don't love you because they're not fitting a definition that you have created. You guys follow me there? You're creating certain actions a person has to take in order to prove to you that they love you. But it doesn't necessarily mean they do or don't love you. You guys follow? Example, if your perspective is a person of great character, great integrity equals love. But I am a person who tells you I'm going to be there at 5, and you know I'm going to get there about 5:30. That's just the way I roll. Does that mean I don't love you? Now, some people will say, well, yes, because you really love me, you'd be here at 5 o'clock. That has nothing to do with whether I love you or not. It does tell you I'm maybe a person that doesn't have character and integrity, but that doesn't say anything about whether I love you or not. But you can perceive that to mean that I don't love you. You guys follow me there? Because all of this action stuff is going to really come down to your perspective, and there's no truth to it because only you are defining the actions that a person must take. Can you imagine if every day I walked out of the house, every action that I took, I had to sit back and think about, how are you going to perceive my actions? If I do this particular action, are you going to think that it means I don't love you? Or are you going to think that I love you? Folks, do you understand the stress that I would have on a daily basis if every time I did something, I'm trying to sit back and figure out whether you're going to interpret whether I love you or not based on the actions that I took? You guys see that? And think about it. And if I'm doing that with you, and I'm doing it with the other people that hold value in my life, folks, I would never, ever move I would sit in this spot right here and never move. Because everything I do, someone is going to interpret it different than the way I actually meant for it to come across. You guys follow me? But you'll sit back and interpret my actions to mean I don't love you or not. Very dangerous place to live. You're putting unnecessary guidelines on other people. You're trying to dictate a person's actions, a person's life, to justify whether or not they love you or not. Now, this thing about the cheating, those are the things that you guys have heard me talk about. Those are called red flags. That doesn't mean they don't love you. And I know some of you don't want to hear that. You ain't gonna want to agree with that. You go, well, if he cheat, he don't love me. They ain't got nothing to do with each other. I know that don't sound right, but they ain't got nothing to do with each other. Think about this. Human beings do everything in life for one or two reasons: to avoid pain or to gain pleasure. So when a person is about to cheat, they are not thinking about the pain, which means chances are very good if you're their partner, they're not thinking about you. So the fact that you're saying they don't love you, they're not even thinking about you at this moment. This action they are about to take has nothing to do with you. Now, I know you're going to say they should be. I agree. Because you guys know I'm not into that. I believe you have to be accountable for your actions. But that's not the conversation we're having here today. We're having a conversation on you interpreting their actions to mean they don't love you. It don't mean the same thing. The person at that moment is thinking about the pleasure they're going to receive by taking this particular action, and you're not even a thought in that particular process. But you're going to interpret the action to mean you don't love me or you wouldn't have done that. You guys follow? They have nothing to do with each other. Now, a person, again, like we said, about character and integrity. If you're a person of great character and you're a person of great integrity, you would bring your partner into the thought process and say, you would have that conversation on the pain, the pleasure, or the pain of what could happen if I do take these actions. I could end up losing my partner. And again, when a person is making those decisions, they're not usually taking your feelings into account. They're making this decision based on the possible results from the action and how it's going to affect them once it's all said and done, which you can almost look at it as they're thinking about themselves in that process, but they are, in a way. They're thinking about, if I do this, I could end up in a big battle. We could end up divorced. Oh man, I don't want to be single. But folks, my point in this particular conversation, quit trying to say a person's actions tells you whether or not they love you or not. No, it doesn't. A person's actions will tell you whether they have character and integrity or not. That's why you guys keep hearing me have the same conversation. Look for character and integrity first. And then all the other things will take care of itself. But if you're going to sit back and interpret a person's actions to equal whether or not they love you or not, you're setting your life up for a lot of stress. Because every time they do something, you're going, well, if you loved me, you wouldn't have did that. Oh, because you did that, I guess you do love me. Oh, no, that time you did. You guys follow me? That's unnecessary stress. That's why you guys hear me say all the time, my belief being that love is not an action. Love is accepting a person, place, or thing exactly the way it is. It doesn't have to change in order for you to love it. This is where that person and other people want to disagree with me, because they're saying, well, you're telling me that I should be with a person that's doing wrong. I ain't never said that. I said love is accepting a person, place, or thing exactly the way it is, and it doesn't have to change. I didn't say get in a relationship with them. You guys have heard me say. The second part of the two major things in relationships, one is accepting them as they are, which to me is love. And it's not an action, it's just I accept you as you are. I didn't say agree, I said accept. And then the second part of that is communication. We need to be able to communicate, and that if we accept people as they are, the communication becomes simpler, because now when I come into the conversation, I'm not talking to you in a way that I'm trying to judge you. I'm coming in the conversation saying I'm trying to understand why you think the way that you think. Now, and it just popped in my head again about the love languages, for example. Hopefully I didn't jump off track there and throw a wrench in that conversation. But the love languages. If your partner doesn't understand that there are different love languages, and by that I'm saying people have different ways of what they consider to be showing them love. That's why, again, I don't buy into its action, because it's a language conversation. If you're a person that thinks that holding hands equals I love you, and your partner, for them, their thought process is Love is buying you things. So I bring you flowers, and I bring you candy, and I go buy you, little things, and I'm always trying to give to you because I believe that's love. You get to sit back if you believe in that thought process that love is action. You sit back and instantly say, they don't love me because if they did, they would be holding my hands. Woo! You guys see where I'm saying this? Where I'm saying all this could create so much chaos? It's like the actions will change based on having a conversation. That's why I said communication is the second most important. If you have a conversation with your partner and say, these are the things that make me feel special, and a person doesn't do those things, then you could turn around and say, okay, based on the fact that these are things, that I like to hold hands, and you're refusing to hold hands to me, then you can start to say, well, how much do you really care? Then maybe all of a sudden you want to bring in that conversation, or is their actions telling you something? It still doesn't mean they love you. They can still love you. It's kind of like, because I know some of you are saying, well, that's a mixed conversation, mixed signals. There was I remember Gary Smalley, a relationship gentleman, and he's one of the first people I started following on relationships. And Gary said he had a lady that he was trying to tell her, she was talking about her dad. She wanted her dad to show her that he loved her, and she was doing everything. And here she is, she's getting older, and she's still just, this is what is driving her, is trying to get her dad's love and affection. And so the girl wasn't really getting the teaching, so he had her come on stage, and he told her, he said, what I want you to do is, you see that lamp that's sitting here on the stage? He said, I want you to go hug that lamp. And so she went over and hugged the lamp, and he's like, okay. And he said, okay, now we're going to wait for the lamp to hug you back. And she looked at him like, huh? He said, we're going to wait for the lamp to hug you back. And she said, well, that's impossible. He said, exactly. You're asking your dad to do something that's not in him at this point. That's the reason I keep saying it's not action. It doesn't mean her dad doesn't love her. It just means her dad, for whatever reason. I was talking to someone who said, who was telling me they're not a dog person. And all these years I thought they weren't a dog person until I heard the story about when they were a little kid, their best friend was their dog, and their dog died. Whoa, did that open up for me? And I said, that's the answer right there. It's not that they're not a dog person. They're running from the pain attached to losing someone that was so close to them. You guys follow me? Now you're going to interpret his actions to mean he doesn't love dogs or he doesn't care about dogs, when the reality is he doesn't want to position himself to get hurt again. I hope y'all with me on this. This stuff gets deep. We have to quit trying to believe that what a person's action does tells us this is, because that particular person, now it makes sense to me why they keep a distance in their other relationships with people. It's not that they don't care. It's not that they don't love these people. They're so afraid of getting hurt. Remember what I said when we first started this? People do everything for one or two reasons: to avoid pain or gain pleasure. This person has linked up getting close equals pain, and they trying to avoid it at all costs. You interpret that to mean they don't love you. That is called misinterpretation. Quit trying to say people's actions tells you a certain thing. It doesn't. You do get to interpret it, though, and justify it for yourself. In this particular person's case, you would have to dig deeper and find out his real thing that's driving him, and you'd understand why he's not doing the things that you have considered to equal actions that equals love. So that's the reason for me. I'm very, very strong. I don't buy into the action is the answer, because people do things and we don't know why. The only way you can do is have conversations with them to see why. But if you're looking for a person has to do this in order to say they love me, you might be searching for a while. Unless you're able to have the conversation and they really get it and they can get through their own personal issues, like in this particular gentleman we're talking about. If he goes and gets that issue addressed and comes to the point to realize that you will lose people, death is a part of the journey. We're going to lose people, including our dogs. But we can't run from that, because what that does is stops you from really enjoying life and really having the intimate relationships with others, because you're trying to keep that little distance for fear of the pain that you may receive by getting connected to them. So folks, I hope you guys really get that. The understanding, like the person was trying to say, the cheating, all the other stuff, those are the things we call red flags. Those are the things that if they're doing that, it still doesn't mean they don't love you, but it does mean there's some underlying issues that need to be addressed. You'll hear all the time about people who have been heartbroken. And so for that reason, as soon as they feel like they're getting close to someone, they sabotage it. Not even intentionally, but they sabotage the relationship, because there's an underlying issue that hasn't been resolved. And you, believing its action is love, and misinterpret what's going on and say, they don't love me, they don't care about me. And nothing could be further from the truth. The pain of getting hurt is so real and so alive in them that they're going to do everything. Remember, most people will do more to avoid the pain than to gain the pleasure. And think about that. As much as they want to be in a relationship with you, as much as they want to show you all the things that you want, because they do care, because they do, in their, whatever your definition is of love, they do. But that pain of getting hurt again is so real and so alive. It causes them to stay away, or to back away, or not show you the things that you believe equals love. So folks, don't misinterpret. I do understand that you do want people to do certain things because those things are significant to you. They make you feel special. I understand that. And you should be in a relationship with someone who does do those things. That's the reason, again, you guys hear me all the time say, get you together first. Because what you're doing is you're trying to say a person that has their stuff together, who's not broken, and then you got your stuff together and you're not broken. You can make a relationship like that work, and you guys can have the open conversations and tell them these are things that I like, or these are things I like, and that person can make those things happen, and you can quote unquote say, see, they love me because they do that. But majority of people, and it's unfortunate, but majority of people are in a world that we call a quiet desperation. They're hurting, have very low self-esteems. And folks, for that reason, the actions that you're looking for, they may not give you, but it has nothing to do with how much they actually care about you. Again, I understand the cheating and that kind of stuff, because that's the one that always likes to come up, the cheating and the lying and all that action. Again, those could be other issues that they got going on. Don't misinterpret that and say it means they don't care. They can care and still do things. Trust me, there are people, think about this, that love their family members and are out there doing drugs, selling drugs, steal from their family because they're on the drug. Now I know people go, well, that's different because they're messed up here. Folks, we can't all of a sudden justify, if we're going to say actions equal, then they wouldn't be on the drugs, because they know that hurts you to see that. So their actions that they're taking proves they don't love you, or they wouldn't be doing this to themselves. Think about that. They're doing this to themselves, but you interpret that mean they don't love you. Again, I hope I'm very clear on that. For me, it's real straightforward, real simple. Love is accepting people as they are. We'll have communication. I'll share with you the things that I like. And we get to define on if you're a person that's willing and you're not broken, I'm not broken, then we'll do those things for each other because we want to make each other feel important and significant. But the flip side of that, and where most people live, they have so much pain that their actions don't necessarily mean anything about you. And it has everything to do with them and their personal issues. So as you guys know, it ain't right, it ain't wrong. It is my opinion. My app is live. It's on Google Play and at the Apple Store. Download it. It's a free app. Matter of fact, on the 13th, I think I have it the 13th to the 20th or something like that. It's going to be 22nd. To the 22nd, I'm going to have everything on the store, the clothing and everything else, my books, videos, you name it, everything I got. Almost pretty much going to be almost for free, 20 to 90% off on everything. And the reason for that is it's kind of like a celebration, a recognition of the app because I'm excited about it. And as you guys know, as I've said before, I want to get this stuff out to the world because I just believe we need to, as I've said before, we got to get to a point where we quit blaming the students, which is society, you and I, and start looking at the teachers, and that means the teachings, the things that are being passed down, and realize a lot of the stuff that's being put out there is why people are having the problems that they're having, because it's just bad information that's been passed on for generation to generation. And I'm hoping I'm giving you things to think about, because as you guys know, like I said, I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, but they are my opinions. All right, let you go out here, and as you guys know, if you're not having fun, you should be doing something else. Make sure you are doing something else if you're not having fun. And I'll talk to you guys later. Take care and enjoy the journey. Bye-bye.